Go for launch.
When?
Now.
Javelins, freelancers, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. So welcome to AnthemCast. I am one of your hosts, Ogaz. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world. Actually, it's a breakfast show if you're coming at us from the US. So enjoy your bacon and egg rolls and sausages and awesome stuff. I'm at snoozy time, 10 o'clock, but Binary, the man on the other side of the world, is probably about 1 p.m. right now. And he's a man, let me introduce Binary. He's a man who would pre-order the Anthem demo on the Nintendo 64 if only he could. And of course, I'm talking about Mr. Binary Num. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good. I am good. I'm old. I'm tired. I've spent the week away from my family, which, in most cases, you'd actually think that was actually really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually horrible. I had so much work to do. So I literally had to parachute halfway across the country to rescue a project. I have this go bag. Right, I have a go bag, and I very rarely use it. I always have a go bag, just for a survivalist type thing. Never have to use it, and I literally had to use it. I had to literally go the same day. It was ridiculous.
Like you're like the traveling Wilbury right now. You're in Prague last week. You're flying around rescuing projects. I mean, you could have a cape in this. You got a Superman cape, man.
I have my Superman boxes in my go bag. But I'm away again this week, and then I got a week at home, and then I'm in Amsterdam for a whole week. So yeah, I'm busy as fuck. But good. I'm good. I'm just tired. How about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been doing not a lot. Actually, I played a bit more Spider-Man. I actually went back to Detroit. Would you believe? I played Detroit at launch, but didn't get much back to it. So I thought I'd better jump in and see what the goss was. But apart from that, not a lot. I've been following the BioWare Twitter, been following the Anthem Twitter. The Discord's been a little bit quieter this week with sort of less news floating about. But that said, there's still plenty of art dropping. I've noticed in the last week, in particular today, there's a rather impressive piece of work some of you may have seen. We dropped it in the Discord, and of course, I'm talking about discord.anthemuniverse.com. And in there is an interesting image. It's from Magma _ Claw, and his Instagram. You just search for that for Instagram, and he's done this really interesting piece of art, and it's a javelin. It's a ranger, but I mean, Binary, have you seen it? It's in the general chat.
Yep, I'm adding it to the stream as we speak.
Awesome. I just realised I didn't preface that, but is that guy? Is the ranger coming? Is the ranger landing? Is he coming out of the ground, or is he just landed on the ground? Do you think? It's in a very interesting position.
It is a very interesting position.
Like I said to Magma when I saw it on Reddit, I mentioned, dude, I love this image because it almost shows two things. One, it shows this like aggression, this menace of the javelin, but it also has this almost vulnerable element to it. Like it's like he's not cowering, but there's just something not quite right. Like, I don't know what it is, but I get both of those vibes from that one picture. So
it's a very Spider-Man post.
Yes, it is a Spider-Man pose. Like it.
But that's a great drawing.
Yeah.
And that looks like he's done it on a digital drawing.
Is it?
I think that's a digital drawing too, isn't it? That's that's pretty good. Well, I'm Magma.
So, that's right. That's the stuff that's been keeping me up at night. Going through the Reddits and the Discords and everywhere, trying to find new art. But of course, something we've not been short of, Binary, is of course the Edmonton Expo that has been going on over at Edmonton for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. And of course, if you're not familiar with the Expo, you we're not surprised either. It looks quite, what's the word? Boutique. How's that?
Ooh, boutique. I like it. Yeah. Bohemian.
Did you think about heading over to Edmonton for the Edmonton Expo?
Well, EGX is this weekend, and I didn't get a chance to go to that. So Yeah, it's very gutted. I was getting lots of tweets from all over the place going, "You EGX, you EGX." I was like, "No, I'm in fucking sunny South Wales."
I love it. EGX is like the poor man's Gamescom, isn't it? Really? I mean, not even that.
Yes. I did figure out what it was called too. I thought it was England Game Expo, but it's not. It's something else. What was it?
Oh,
It was like, it's EGX stand for.
the
EGX.
eccentric Gonad Expo.
EGX. Oh, Eurogamer Expo. That's right. Yeah. That's
Duh.
Right. See, what's going to happen after Brexit? Are they just going to call it England?
Yeah, you can't. You can't do after Brexit. It's game off.
So is Eurogamer as a brand going to have to change as well, since they're based in Brighton? I don't know.
Yeah, these are deep international border questions that I hadn't thought about at this time of night, but I like it.
I wonder if it's going to be part of the Brexit trade deal that Eurogamer get to keep their name. I don't know.
Yeah. Of course, before we jump down there, I should note, big shout out to all the guys jumped into the stream chat. So thank you for joining us. Of course, some of the usual crowd, Team NGX, the brave and the beautiful Mr. NGX is in town.
Oh, we got Bags in chat too. There we go.
Bags just dropped in, which is fantastic to see. Of course, Alan Sinner. These guys are like regulars to the conversation. So thanks for being part of it. I noticed that one of you guys mentioned there was it Alan Sinner. NGX. You mentioned that it looks like a mid dodge pose. We were talking about the Ranger suit earlier, and I can see that. Yeah, like as if there's like maybe he's under attack, she's under attack.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's actually yeah. I brought it back up. That makes a lot of sense. Mid dodge.
I suppose we could just actually like tag Magma and go, "Yo, what's going on? What is?" I mean, he's right there. We can ask the chap instead of speculating, but I'll leave it as is for now. But look, back to it. We were talking, of course, about the elegant Edmonton Expo, and I think we had a couple of snaps. I think didn't we on display from that? Oh, they're up there, and So look, it looks
just to
like
clarify,
one of those things.
These pictures are ripped from Bags' Discord. Cheers, Bags.
Actually, so some of them are from the BioWare feed, some of them are from Anthem feed, and some of them are from who was it? The digital coordinator at the marketing coordinator at BioWare, Steve Trainer. Steve Trainer.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he ripped them off Twitter. Rip the rip.
Oh,
it's like people doing reaction videos of reaction videos of reaction videos or an actual reaction. Brilliant.
It's great. Does that make it like it's not really third-party content? Then isn't it fourth-party content?
Yeah. It's a good job it's not a meme. Otherwise, we're having copyright strip downs right now.
I'm sure it's all good. It's for the love of the game. I think BioWare knows that as much as anyone. But it's great to see, these pictures and the excitement of the activity happening over at the Edmonton Expo. As I said, boutique is probably a word for it. We didn't really see much news, of course, nothing really grand, but just that I guess does this seem like BioWare's kind of homecoming event? Is this just sort of something that just makes sense because they're in the area?
I think it's a couple of things actually. Them being there is. No, Edmonton's not a huge place, right? Like Edmonton is an actual area. Let me just find out what the population is. Population of Edmonton, Canada.
Geography lesson coming in right now.
So the population of Edmonton is less than 1 million people, and that was in 2014. So it's not a huge area. And I bet BioWare, in terms of its being an employer for the area, is probably actually one very well known. And two, probably quite a big staple. If you're going to get into that type of place, then BioWare is going to be the place to do it. So, but it's probably they're one of those employers that pays homage to its location and town and all the nerds and stuff that like to go to Comic-Con and stuff like that. They have a localized one. So, and Edmonton's in the middle of nowhere, right? Like you could probably drive for an hour, 2-3 hours in all directions and not see anything but dust.
Well, they've got corn. We know that.
Plenty of corn. Yeah,
a lot of corn in Edmonton. But I noticed that I was going to the Edmonton Expo site, so I'm like, I've got to check this out. Like, where are they? And there's some interesting ones. One of the sponsor partners of the Edmonton Expo is called London Drugs. Are you familiar with this place?
Yeah, London Drugs is a big shop. It's a bit like, I don't know, we have Boots here in England.
Huh.
You probably have, yeah, an American London Drug. It's like your pharmacy, spoke health stuff, makeup.
Yeah, right.
Your generalised healthy department store.
I just thought that was it. Just sort of stood out for me as like an odd partner for a Comic Con expo.
Yeah, they're a very big retailer in Canada.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Because then I was like, what? That's an interesting brand. But also how's this? They had three voice actors from Grand Theft Auto 5. Of course, the three main character leads you might remember from GTA 5 were there, which we kind of laughed at first, but then we're like, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to have had a have a chat. But apart from that, it was basically that, and I mean, really, BioWare probably the main staple in terms of the gaming conversation, and no doubt those statues were, so the statues, the Javelin
Suits.
outfits, the suits that we've seen at Gamescom and at E3, and previously. Whilst nothing new, I guess for a lot of us, we've seen them a few times. It was good to see them in action again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering what's going to happen with them after the game's launched, whether BioWare are going to put them up in their studio reception entrance. But it's clearly a lot of hours have gone into them. They are.
Mm,
They do look slightly lifeless with no one in it, though.
agreed.
You'd thought they'd
Agreed.
maybe put like an inflatable inside or something. Like one of them, not inflatable sex dolls, as like an improvisation human, just to puff it out a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Looking particularly at the Interceptor, it seems to really benefit from having a body inside it. The mannequins don't seem to really, to hold it well. But anyway, part of the conversation. But and of course, another thing that was very large and exciting and grand this week was I guess, reaffirmation from BioWare in the context of the pre-order process. Um, Mark Darrah and many of even actually Mike Gamble, and John over in the last sort of month have all been answering sometimes very similar questions about the Anthem game demo, the pre-order details, and of course the information that you are now seeing on screen. Uh, is it a relief binary that I guess BioWare kind of sort of gone official here, and they said, right, okay, once and for all, this is the situation?
I think it is a relief. Not sure why it wasn't there from the beginning, but at least they haven't gone Ubisoft and done it by a different theatre around the world, which is nice.
I was looking forward to getting more stuff than you.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems good. It seems a bit odd. It's very strange how they've gone around some of this. So, like, if you buy the standard game, which is what, £55 or $65, or if you're in Australia, like $500, then you get demo access on the 1st of February, and you get the full game, but you don't get to play early, or you don't get the 10 hours play early, or you don't seem to get the early access either. And that's the same as if you bought the Legion of Dawn pre-order. You don't seem to get the play early access. So you don't get early access for the full game on the 15th, and you don't get 10 hours of trial. You only get the demo access. And what the demo access, we still don't really know what the demo is. However, if you have EA access on the Xbox, or you have Origin access basic on the PC, then you get demo access, and you get 10 hours of actual trial, play first trial, which is on the 15th, but not early access to the full game. You only get early access to the full game if you have the Premiere, Origin Premiere access, which is the £80 or $120 or 1,000 US Australian dollars. Then you get early access to the full game on the 15th, and then you get the full game on the 22nd. So it's still a little bit weird. It's like video game companies don't really seem to grasp like a natural flow through in order. Like, the more money you spend, you should progressively get more, not lose stuff there to gain stuff here. And then it's very odd how they do their gaming structure with pre-orders.
I don't envy the product managers and the marketing guys on this one, because it's hard. I mean, you can almost see it. To answer your question or your query, we know the reason. The reality is that they obviously need to have an alignment with the EA goals in terms of how this game intertwines with Access. There's no doubt about it. As Electronic Arts, they want to encourage adoption of Origin and Access. And it's quite clear and blatantly clear from even going back to Battlefield 1. Remember, it was a week early on Battlefield 1 when that came out. Yeah. That was probably the first time that I remember sort of saying, okay, I'm going to pay some coin because I want to play Battlefield 1 early. And then I looked at myself like I was dirty. I was like, oh man, what have I done? But I think that's a reality that we need to consider. BioWare obviously have to be able to make those decisions, understand what the market needs, what their gamers want, but then they've got to obviously coincide with the needs of EA. So that's a lot.
Yeah, it's just weird. If I pre-order the full game, whether it's standard or Legion of Dawn, and I get demo access, right? And I think the guys were dropping. I don't know if you guys can drop a link in chat for the EA website. But so you get the standard game and you get demo access, which is on the 1st of Feb, but you don't get early access to the full game, which is weird, right? Because EA usually do this like 3 days or whatever, and then you don't even get the trial version. But if you have the subscription model, you actually get more access.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you've got EA access on Xbox One and Basic, you don't get the full game. But if you've got it, then you can play the demo, which is 10 hours.
Yeah.
Right? 10 hours is a lot of game time to play before launch. Like, I don't know if people...
Definitely.
In a campaign-based game, like 10 hours... In 10 hours, you can complete the Destiny campaign. That's how much game time you have, right? Like, literally, you can complete the campaign. You can complete 25% of Spider-Man in 10 hours. That's a lot of game time. So... and then if you have the premiere, then you pretty much get all of it but the 10 hours. So it's just a bit weird. It's not very coherent or well structured, I don't think.
Yeah, and if you've been listening just on the podcast of today as opposed to the visual, then you're probably sitting there going, what the did Binary just say? And that's fair. It's actually quite hard to audibly explain the detail and the nuance behind these choices. So obviously, if you don't have the visual right now, go to the BioWare Twitter, or of course ours, of course at Anthem Universe, and you can check that tweet out with the image and the details, and it'll give you a really good understanding for what that looks like. But as you say, Binary, it's quite clear that if you want to have that extra love, you want to get in early, you want to see this game for all it is 10 days before, you will be paying not only just the pre-order for the demo, but if you want that full game on Access, you will be subscribing. You have to have an active subscription to either get Access or Origin.
It looks like to me, to get the best value, one, don't be on PS4, because EA doesn't have any relationship with PS4 in terms of subscription. But if you've got, if you buy the standard or the Legion of Dawn game, and you're on Xbox, and you have the Xbox EA access, then you will have the full game and you'll get the 10 hours demo, right? So you have both. And the same if you're on PC. So if you bought the full game and you have Origin access, then you will get both, right? So you get the 10 hours of demo and you'll get the full game. That seems to be the best value. Unless you're a Origin access Premier person who likes to spend and play everything, who likes everything EA, then but yeah, if you're PS4, then basically you're just shit out of luck. You haven't got anything. You got no option.
Yeah, I've got a mate who just plays like FIFA, Madden, basketball. He's set. he's got the full subscription. He's just going to be able to play this no matter what. And he's not too fussed about the demo, so he's just going to get it 10 days early, and he'll be happy for it.
Yeah. NGX. No, Origin access is PC only, but if you have EA access on Xbox, so EA access is exactly the same as Origin access. Exactly the same price, but it's on Xbox only.
Yes, which goes back to your point before, of course, that PlayStation 4 doesn't really enter into that conversation, which is, I think both of us are probably going to be primarily PC/Xbox One because we just have that it's what we do in our preference for gameplay. But we both have a PS4, and we both would readily jump onto that version if the community was there. And it will be. But it's just frustrating that we're having that. Like, we've been through these conversations, haven't we, with Division and other games in the past, Destiny as well, where certain, and I know it's only early pre-order stuff, and it's not going to break the game and it won't break the future, but it's just a little bit disappointing, isn't it, for the Sony people?
Yes, I think it is a little bit disappointing. But it's Sony, right? Sony have these weird marketing and weird and stuff, and they don't do anything like that. They have their PlayStation Now platform, right, which is to their Sony PlayStation first game titles, but they don't have a relationship like that with EA or anyone else, which is weird, right? Because you predominantly play PlayStation for more sports games than you would Xbox. So, yeah, unlucky.
That's a good point. And the only other point, of course, we forgot to stipulate there is that the language in all of this, in terms of the display, the images we've seen, and the information from BioWare, is the word demo. There is a distinct missing S that was in all of the collateral up until this point. So we are now talking about a demo, not demos, which is not a problem to me. It's just an interesting point that perhaps that was a conversation, because they kept saying demos in the past, and now we're talking more about perhaps the sole one for February 1st.
Yeah. So you got the VIP demo, right, which kicks off on the 1st of February, and it's open to players who pre-ordered Anthem, as well as the current EA Access and EA Origin Access subscribers. Both standards of Legion Dawn pre receive demo access must have an active subscription. It does not say anything about actually what you're going to be able to play. But what does have is play first trials. The EA Access for Xbox and Origin Access bundle for PC. Members will get to play 10 hours of Anthem as part of the play first trial, start on the 15th. Progress made in the game during the free trial will carry over to the full game if purchased. So those 10 hours you get 10% off. So that's actually a little bit of a kick in the teeth. So if you've already bought the game, unlucky, because you could have, if you had EA Access or Origin Access, you could play for 10 hours, and then all that 10-hour playtime will carry over to the full game, and you get 10% off. Or if you become a Origin Access Premier member. That's actually pretty good. That's actually not too bad. And you get to keep you get to keep the what you play, which is
so let's summarize that. So what's your hot tip then for that? What's Binary's tip of the day?
Binary's tip of the day is EA. If you've got an Xbox, EA Access for £20 a year is an absolute must. Like, the amount of games that you get with it in that is an absolute must. So if you have that, don't buy Anthem yet. Wait, play the trial, do your 10 hours. If you like it, buy the game and get a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Which really is also a bit, it's a bit of a con anyway, because you always pay £10 or about 12% more for the digital than you do the hard copy version anyway, which is I never understand in my entire life. But yeah, I would do that. If you have the ability to do that, I would wait to pre-order. Because the only way you're going to be able to play early on the 15th is with the Origin Access Premiere on PC. All the others you can't. You have to wait till you only get 10 hours on the 15th. So
there you have it.
But obviously, you choose how to spend it.
And here's the other thing: is the what are you looking for? Do you expect? I mean, for me, from the word go, when they said demo, I immediately went, okay, it's going to be the E3 demo. It's a complete.
It does feel like it's going to be the E3 demo, right?
Yeah, I just feel like it's that's been tried and tested. It's been played out to the nth degree. They know the limitations, the boundaries. They have that set play. It's created for that purpose. Yeah. It's a play test. It just makes sense. Just copy and paste that over. Maybe adjust some of the. Remember, they always talked about a couple of the balancing issues that they had with the Titan, and we never actually saw the end originally of the final battle with the queen, with the Spider Queen. So,
the Queen of the Swarm.
Yeah, the Queen of the Swarm. So the question beckons: if they go with that, then are we going to see the end of that, or are they going to do a fade out before the?
Are we going to get a fade out?
But I think either way, anyone in this chat right now, anyone on the Discord, and of course following Anthem Universe, which is at Anthem Universe or discord.anthemuniverse.com. If you're in it, you are probably as excited as we are to get your mittens on that little beast when it does drop February 1st at the moment. We'll see if there's any other technical testing, betas, alphas, and so forth that may not be public, but might be for certain playtesters between now and February. More to come when we hear about that.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. And of course, while we're talking about the demo, as you mentioned, you did imply that the game progress from those that start the game 10 hours early or have it early for pre-order will carry across, but the demo progress is an important point. Your progress in the demo will not, which makes sense because, as I said, I think both you and I agree. I think it's an isolated adventure. That it's almost like a vertical slice in its own right.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm probably also going to assume it's a separate download to the main game. So if you've pre-ordered and purchased, then whatever client you're using, or whatever store system you're using, the ecosystem will make the demo available to you, and then it'll be useless after the demo's finished.
Indeed. Good stuff. All right. Well, look, that's probably the biggest conversations this week, as I said, in terms of the art from our good friend today earlier, and of course the Edmonton Expo, and as I said, the game demo confirmation from BioWare. But of course, it wouldn't be an AnthemCast. It wouldn't be a fine Sunday if we didn't have the wonderful Diaries of Darrah.
Diaries. I need an intro button. We need an intro button.
Yeah, intro for that.
Yeah.
I got one. Okay, yep, that'll do.
Okay. Yeah, let's not do that anymore.
That was the Mario underwater theme. No one knows. No one picked it up. Damn it. Copyright. That's going to get copyright on YouTube now, isn't it?
Probably. Yeah.
Nintendo's going to be after me. But anyway, Diaries of Darrah. So what do we have? So we had some news. Reconfirmation. We talked a moment ago about the demo progress already, but the second tweet there that we had in that list was the cross saves. And of course, there was clarification. We've had these in the past, to be fair, but the point here is the language is still being used the same. The language being not at launch. Yeah. The question is, will there be cross saves available? Will I be able to have cross save across platforms, for example, PC and Xbox? More likely, let's face it. And the answer still is not at launch.
Yeah.
So there's still hope.
Yeah, but it's the same with every developer. They're all like, Division 2 is the same. All the conversations are happening because they know that it's a point of frustration within the gaming community. Is that everybody now has used generally more than one console or way to experience their games, right? And people don't want to have to grind everything out twice. It would be amazing to have cross saves, not necessarily cross multiplay, but cross saves, right? So if I play on my PlayStation, I can go around my mate's house and load up his, and then I can play on my account there, and it's exactly the same. Or just between PC and whatever, right? So I think it's more I think it's more a diplomatic approach to say, look, we're working on it, but it's out of their hands, right? Really.
Yeah, I hear. I think it, and we know the reality being, of course, with the consoles being on almost identical architecture to PC, there's no real technical reason that the data save, the capture save, or whatever that point of information couldn't be consistent across all platforms.
No, it's just we know that they know the technology is there. We know it's there. It's just more of a relationship thing around.
Unless it goes to Switch. Would you play? Here's a question. Would you play Anthem on Switch?
I play a lot of things on Switch, so I wouldn't mind.
It'd be scaled down as hell.
Yes. Well, no. Well, if they can make games like Doom and Shadow of the Colossus work on there, right?
Exactly.
Where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah, so when you scale it down, but I don't know, the reason I asked that, I don't know what the save architecture is like on Switch, so that might be a bit different conversation. But still, it's something there. I mean, as I said, I wasn't thinking I'd be able to play Skyrim on the Switch a year ago.
Who'd have thought you could play Wolfenstein 2 on Switch?
Yeah, I mean the textures are quite. You can tell there's a distinct
Yeah.
difference. It's scaled down significantly, but still at that size screen, it's certainly
Well,
playable
that's
and
true.
certainly
Well,
very
the question really
aesthetic.
is from Alan Sinner is will Thick Boy even fit on a Switch screen?
Jesus. Like they actually
Yeah, yeah.
don't. It's only three player. It's only three player mode on Switch. Colossus is too thick.
Yeah.
Oh dear, good stuff, good stuff. Of course, the next tweet in the wonderful Diaries of Darrah was the beautiful conversation about matchmaking. And of course, the question there beckons, is matchmaking available for every activity? It's a good question. I like that. That was from Robbie27 for every activity there. And the answer from Mark was yes. Are you surprised at this?
No, they said there's going to be matchmaking, and it's
Yeah.
a shared world, so you should be able to share everything.
Yeah, it would be very much against their philosophy, wouldn't it? But from what been talking about for the last 6 months.
We say that though. That it's interesting, right? Because it would be nice if there was some story missions that you go out and you had to do yourself, right? You play Destiny, and there are certain missions which you have to do yourself. Like when it's the Spark of Light missions and stuff like that. They are stuff that you do yourself because it's part of your story campaign. I could imagine, unless there is everything really is contained, if there is any story lore or serious decision-making missions which affect your world back in Tarsus, I could imagine those being possibly single-player only. But then I'm not imagining them to be, super difficult, right? They're more of a narrative-based mission that you have to do it yourself, depending on what timeline you're in. But the way they're describing this storytelling in real time, maybe they don't need to do that. Don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Like if as you say, if the storytelling in real time is part of it, then it more becomes a conversation of, going back to their emphasis that they made back at E3 2018 with the drop-in, drop-out conversation. They talked so easily. It was so easy for a level 1 storm to drop in with a pre-existing group running at level 30. And that seemed to be the philosophy. Like, we want you to join in. Like, I should, if I have to jump out for 2 minutes because I've got to go and, I don't know, change a baby's nappy or something, I can do that, come back, and I can just rejoin and get back into the action and not feel like I've missed out. And I think that that works quite well across the team conversations they've been having.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Of course, the next tweet that we saw pop up, what was that on the list? I didn't have that on the list here.
BioWare, I'm curious. If I buy Anthem, will I be able to play and complete the game alone without doing any multiplayer?
Oh, yeah.
And interestingly, this is actually probably one of the biggest questions that I've seen. 91 likes. So
it is.
We have a lot of introvert players looking to play Anthem.
Well, it goes back to that point. Remember, we've been. I mean, I'm still like a broken record because I say this a lot, but it really is that marriage of those two communities, isn't it? I mean, we talked before about the thing that the Destiny and Division don't bring is a BioWare story player, character-driven centric philosophy. They just don't have that.
They don't.
And people you can see that, like the as you say, the people that like and get engaged and are getting excited about these things are very much of that ilk, and aren't really interested in. They're the guys that don't really, to be fair, they're not about the numbers popping. They don't want to see numbers flying there. They don't really care about that, but they want to know that I'm going to be able to jump out there by myself when I want.
Yeah. Which you can play story missions solo. I think we're in a massive turning point in games now where the majority of gaming or gamers enjoy the fact that it's sociable gaming now, right? Everything is about social aspects, which is why Anthem obviously created BioWare have created this world, which is a shared world experience, and they've created content that's in there specifically for those multiplayer experience moments. But they've always said the story will be 100% soloable. So. And let's face it, a lot of BioWare's games, Dragon Age, We Keep Going Back, Neverwinter Nights. All of those are all experienced as single player. There was the campaign and the story behind that, and you experience that as a solo person. So,
True. And I guess, as you say, there's plenty of people just sitting here waiting for a Dragon Age announcement, waiting for where does Mass Effect go next.
Yeah.
And it's quite probable that those people still see Anthem as an out for that. And I think BioWare is obviously very keen to make sure they see that light, because it obviously is going to drive adoption and it'll drive their sales. And then they can say, well, look, we made enough money on Anthem, we can reinvest now and can drive our focuses back to Dragon Age over the next 2 years.
Well, they're working on a new Dragon Age, right?
Which they've already
said.
Exactly.
And I do hope they're working on a new Mass Effect. Just not in the Andromeda system. But yeah.
I think people would just be happy if they just remastered ME1 to 3. Like I think the internet. I literally think the internet will just melt if they just did an official full remaster package of all 3. And I don't think no one will complain about that. Everyone will be like, "Yep, I'm getting that."
Yeah.
It's printing. It's a license to print money, BioWare.
Yeah.
But
no, Bags. We do know. Yeah, they are working on DA and ME. We do know that. But hopefully they're working on it. But I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later.
Oh, Anjex just made a good point in there, and he mentioned unpopular opinion, but I want a new KOTOR.
That is not unpopular. No, absolutely.
It's not unpopular.
Mate, 10 years I've been waiting for a new KOTOR from BioWare.
Yep.
Come on.
Although I must say, I jailbroke my iPad so that I think I could do. What was I trying to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to use my PlayStation controller. So having KOTOR as an iOS app running on the iPad with my PlayStation controller, Bluetooth, playing KOTOR, that was like, damn, like this is, and it just looks good. It looks good on the screen too. This brings back memories of Xbox.
That's how good it
is.
I forgot it.
You've got like one of the greatest RPGs just in your pocket.
Just in my pocket.
It's like just going to work. What's in your pocket?
Along with Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Just KOTOR, Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant. Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
Absolutely incredible. If they can make a new KOTOR, that'd be unreal. That'd be so good.
Yeah, definitely. And even if they could just capture that RPG turn-based element, that is still not boring today. Like that is still enjoyable to play today.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I know.
But I'm not sure how the market would respond to that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even when that game was a turn-based RPG, it was still a surprise for a lot of people.
It's got to be better than the mobile version of Command and Conquer shit that EA have come out with.
Ouch.
I love you, EA, but no, you ruined one of my greatest franchises in my entire growing up history.
Although it made for an epic close to E3, you can't deny it.
Oh yeah.
With the commentator.
Yeah. You pulled off a full sports commentator on someone playing on a mobile phone. Incredible.
It was pretty cool. But anyway, of course, moving forward, next, Colossus. So the tweet there was about Colossus's shield, if I recall. Is that right? The next one?
Yeah. So this Ash Stargazer. So sorry to spam this, Mark, but really want to know: can we remove the shield from the Colossus and equip something else, or is it fixed? I hope not, as personally I wish to have a pure offensive tank. What? A pure offensive tank? Right. No, you can't remove the shield. So basically, this guy wants to be a run and gun and face tanker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would probably, not going to work. I like that how he's like, I hope not. and Mark's like, no. You can see much pleasure in that.
Yeah. So basically, I want an indestructible DPS machine, basically.
So you can't put the shield down. Are you disappointed that you won't be able to put the shield down as Colossus?
No, I don't think so. I think it's the same with the Ranger and the gadgets, right? So the grenades, right? They're specific to him. And the whole point of the Colossus is that it's crowd control and it's defensive, and we saw in some of the gameplays, right? He takes that shield and runs through a minefield, takes all the damage so everyone else can follow. So it's the way they've built the game. No, I have no issue with that, not at all. Because what we know is the shield doesn't take up a slot or a weapon slot or anything like that. It's prefixed. So you still get your 2 weapons and something else, right? So it's it's not taking something away.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed by that. I mean, it to be fair, it almost is a critical part of that javelin. Like that is its purpose. That is by and large its function. Obviously, there's going to be tweaks. You can still have your inferno, flamethrower. You can still have other elements to the weaponry that we know about. But anyway. Next in the line, of course, was the anti-cheat system. Now, this was interesting. It was a good question, actually, from, I'm not even going to say that Twitter handle. Mouse and I
just go with Manta. This one.
There you go, Manta. And of course, he wrote, "Hello, Mark. With the game, will the game have an anti-cheat system?" The answer from Mark, of course, was yes. Now, when I mentioned that to you, you were like, "Yeah, duh." And I was like, okay, so to you, it was just natural, obvious, based on the PC version of the game?
I think from a PC version standpoint, they will have an anti-cheat system. So you see it quite a lot, right? So you'll have, especially in the PC world, you'll have people who use exploits for like movement speed and weapon RPM, so like rounds per minute and stuff like that. They will change. Like if you're on PC and you're using like an auto headshot thing, then you're just wank and clearly need to learn how to use a keyboard and mouse, because it's how you need one of those for that, I'm not understanding. But most of the time, what you'll see is the ability to port yourself, to teleport yourself across the map from coordinates. Average movement speed. There's also things like the weapon fire rate, weapon damage rate, and stuff like that. So it will be how much of the game's decisions and everything is done on the client side compared to the server side will determine how much cheating is actually going to be able to be done. And you saw this in Division, which was a huge problem for the Division, was that they actually put a lot of the decision making or a lot of the variables actually on the client side, which enabled you to then change that. And then the server was like, "Oh well, the client side says it's this." So you got a guy sprinting across like the Flash across the map.
They were very gamer centric variables, weren't they? They were like run speed, ammo count, gun rate, gun fire rate. Like there were very specific things you would not normally have client side in that original engine.
So it does depend on where you put that information, and then you also, I'm sure they're going to have some level of cheat engine in the back end of that as well, just to be able to pick those up. They haven't said what the consequences of you being found cheating are, but it's a PvE game, so if you need to cheat at a PvE game, like, well, good luck to you.
Well, that makes us a good point, because then a lot of people jumped on that comment and then went, well, okay, if that's going to be the case, one of the biggest drivers for them for that will be PvP, and they've always said that PvP will not be at launch, with the reasonable assumption by the community that it will come at some point. So a lot of people are saying, well, that gives Creed extra evidence to make the assumption that PvP is coming, and this is perhaps the beginning of it.
Yeah, maybe so. I would not be afraid of having like an MEA version of PvP in Anthem. I liked PvP in MEA. I thought it was pretty good.
Right.
And it's sort of it's definitely clearly the very similar engine, over the shoulder type shooting. So I think it could be pretty good. But yeah, we'll see.
I was trying to do some research into what the anti-cheat system was for Star Wars, The Old Republic, and I'm just, if anyone's in the Twitch, if anyone knows, shout out. But I couldn't find anything specific. So what I'm getting at is, I'm just curious what BioWare have used in the past for that system. I found a few forums making reference to anti-cheat software, but it doesn't seem to be very readily discussed. Things that run on Steam often have Valve anti-cheat, which has its lovers and haters. It does have its problems, but it is pretty consistent across all the Steam games. And of course, Punkbuster is the old school. But I can't think of anything that I'd connect with BioWare, because to be fair, we've never really had to have that conversation much with BioWare, have we? We're not sitting here worried about a PvP cheat conversation.
No, no, you don't see people moaning about people glitching across the map in PvE, right? But you do when it involves PvP, right? So we'll see. We'll see. I think it opens up more questions than it answered.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a good little piece of. I like these questions, and people are asking these sort of questions that I would not have really connected the dots to. So kudos to those conversations. Of course, the next one in that list of awesomeness was relating to the javelin, and of course, in particular, the ranger. And the actually was it? What did I have up there?
Yep, that is that. So how many missions? So this is from
Zach
Copeland. Yeah. So how many
Thanks.
missions will we have to do to unlock our first javelin? And the answer is still being tuned, but likely 1 to 2. Which is okay. So are we going to understand that they will be Fort Tarsis based? Considering so you got 2 options there, right? They're going to be Fort Tarsis based because you can't leave Fort Tarsis without a javelin suit, or so they're going to be story based.
Okay, so you're thinking like run a few local errands inside Tarsus,
maybe
for the opening elements of the game. Get to know the Tarsus environment, the marketplace,
go meet some people,
the shops.
Go talk to this guy, get this guy to give you a thing, to take the thing to someone else, to give you a thing,
and to put it in the thing.
Then you get the thing that then lets you have the javelin. Maybe.
You got to. Well, it's got to be 3, right? You got to collect the 3 stones, the 3 like the sapphire and diamond. Okay, so and then of course a follow on to that tweet, like the very next one, is linked to this very importantly, and the question was, when will you get the ranger? And the answer from Mark was that when you finish the tutorial, you'll get that ranger. So with those 2 tweets combined, as you said, Binary, it could be an activity that we are in Tarsus. But I raised the point when we were off air before. Could it be that you're in a unconventional javelin?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or like prior to this, and I made allusions to
junker.
Like, what if it's Junker? What if it's a conversation with Halleck, for example, and Halleck's like, look, I've got this piece of crap, I'm working on it, and it might be the one that he was even in those original shots from the first trailers.
Yeah.
Have a go, have a play, and you're kind of in like a test environment, and you're just sort of playing around with it, learning the ropes. It might be something, or even it could be even VR related. You're actually, I'm thinking, like something like Halo or something, where you have that sort of like a virtual reality element, and you're just, practicing. So you actually are getting access to a javelin, but technically not the 4 that we're familiar with. And I like the term you used, a junker. I like that.
Yeah, could be a junker.
Anyway. Not much else to that really, but interesting to think where we're going to be, what we're going to be up to before we see that first javelin. What else did we see this week? Only a couple more really before we start to wrap up, but we saw, now this wasn't new, I think we had talked about this previously, but dialogue options are going to be voiced.
Yes.
So is that, okay. It's a good question, I guess. It's something I didn't think to ask, but I kind of assumed it.
Yeah, you assumed it already. It'll be whether we are voiced in that conversation or whether it'll just be the NPCs. It will be the next question, right?
Are we going to be Gordon Freeman, silent protagonist?
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know.
Actually,
no, because we keep hearing the woman, don't we?
No.
We keep hearing a woman, so I reckon we'll have a woman and a male version of the voices.
And there has been conversations previously about those voices for our characters as well. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting one because it's different to ones that we've had in the past, as we know, because in Tarsus we're going to be in first person.
Yeah.
So it's not like some of the cutscenes that we have, say, like on the Normandy in Mass Effect, for example. I don't know. I guess we'll see some love, but anyway.
Cutscenes, and Jess might be right. Cutscenes are voiced. It's cutscenes, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll find out in that demo and 10-hour playthrough, won't we?
Or you're going for the full load, aren't you? I mean, you're going to be 10 hours is not enough.
No, well, no, you don't need to do the 10 hours because if you have the Origin access,
you'll have the premiere.
You get it from the 15th anyway.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least is something that we nearly missed. And of course, our good friend Anjex, who we were talking to off air just before, sent through something that came through on the Anthem feed, in fact. And it was something that slipped right by us on the 13th of September, actually. I do remember looking at it, but I remember not thinking much of it at the time. But as you can see here, the tweet that's there, is that up on screen now? Yeah. And the conversation there is that javelins are handcrafted by the meticulous work of arcanists, and only expert pilots can unlock the full potential of their exosuits. The Ranger Javelin is the first that you'll suit up in. So to us, this sounds like there is... Well, we know that arcanists are... These guys are like nerds. These guys are shaper technology nerds that are going out in the world and they're getting stuck. They're getting lost, and you're constantly having to rescue them. At least that's what we've been told by Mike Gamble so far.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, does this sort of give you some insights into what you think the origins of the javelins might be?
Well, yeah, we always talked about I think we've mentioned this before in the past about how the javelins are built, considering that we're in a world of non-industrial revolution, right? So they don't have the microchip, they don't have the mechanics or circuitry, right, to be able to build this. So it's clearly re-engineered technology that's possibly, and we've always thought, which is out of their realms of understanding. So they've taken technology and re-engineered it to be able to do what it is today. So yeah, it's fascinating. I think it's also that's a really good bit of lore that we can sort of try and bite in on to understand how the Arcanists were able to possibly re-engineer, create or use shaper technology to create the javelins. So yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And it also, I guess, brings into that context that we've talked about this before, but story writers and lore writers like to do this, but where you have like this circular or cyclical conversation. Yeah. And you can, if you think about it, I like this idea that the conversation is that, you know, the Arcanists have that connection to the shaper technology, and the shaper technology influences the design potentially of, you know, their thinking and philosophy, which influences the design of the javelins, which then is the very weapon that we use to fight against all the things trying to capture the shaper technology. It's not cyclical. It's more like a symbiotic relationship. Like everything has to exist. Shapers have to exist, and for all these elements to come together now, we have to have all of these variables, and this is the perfect storm, or this is the perfect shaper storm.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to be fun. You know, I was thinking, to wrap this point up, I was thinking the other day, we've talked a lot about, you know, reports, and we've joked about weather reports and whatnot with Anthem. And if you think about it, this could be a really interesting conversation, like the weekly conversation on our cast here and in, you know, across the community will be, what's going on? You know, like, you know, the weather update for this week is that there's a shaper storm up in the north. You know, don't go here, go there. Beware of this, beware of that. I got a real exciting, just some energy today when I was thinking about it. Like, holy crap, that really creates a whole variable that we can really talk to every week, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully covering that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would be amazing. If we could do that, that would be fantastic.
The Anthem weekly weather report. Oh. Njek says, groan, Gaz. What did I do? What did I say? I don't know. I don't know. He was making fun of my age before because we had that 80s song. It was the what Kenny Loggins song, and he said it was it retro? And I said, that's not retro. That's just 80s cool. But, anyway. Look, I don't have much else. That was the main things I think we wanted to talk to today. So. Did you have any other special love? Any things you want to talk about in terms of what you're up to over the next week? Usernames and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing much over the next week. I'm going to be travelling, so rip. But, you can follow us if you're on Twitch. You follow us on Twitter at Anthem Universe. Come jump in the Discord at discord.anthemuniverse.com. If you're listening to on also all the podcasts, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there every week and joining the other 5,000 listeners. If you're watching us or just being involved in the Discord, thank you for come over to the Twitch channel and enjoying in the conversation live at the same time. We hope to be bringing more of these up to you every week, and as we get ramp up more and more closer to launch, we will have obviously a lot more information. But thank you everybody for being part of what is an amazing community at the beginning of its career. So.
Absolutely. And I'd like to personally thank the Edmonton Expo for their boutique expo. It was cute and we liked it, and it was good to see some photos and it's just another local conversation and insight that we can get into the game, even if it's not groundbreaking news. It was just something nice to talk about, I think, today, and no doubt we'll see more of those suits probably at a few other expos before then, between now and February. But as I said, you can of course reach myself. I'm at Ogaz, that's at OH_GAZ. But more importantly, as a collective, we are at Anthem Universe. As you said with Binary earlier, jump in the Discord, check out the love, join, engage, talk about lore, share stories, create stories for many of them, start to theory craft, and enjoy the spoils. So guys, we will see you in the Discord, and of course, we will see you next.
Over the wall.
Oh.